how to ride their bikes, man.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to day 3 of the Intelligentsia Cup in Chicago. And hey, if this is the first of the series that you've seen, quick recap. The first 2 days were crazy, full of crashes, complete chaos, and that's why today I decided here at Lombard I'm going to tail gun. What is tail gunning? Tail gunning, in short, is staying near the back of the pack. It allows you to take choice lines through the corners, really conserve all of your speed and your momentum, and you don't have to fight elbows and shoulders with that really tight formation of riders near the middle of the peloton. And it really paid off. I was chilling. I had a really low heart rate, really low power, and also a really high rate of speed for the first 15 or so minutes of this race. So while I'm kind of chilling back here, just chatting with a buddy in the early stages of this race, let's talk about this race really fast. The course. I have done this course in previous years. This is a 4-corner Criterium. Although the corners come so close to each other, they're almost like one corner. So you can almost think of it like a 2-corner with a little bit of a hill after corner 2, which doesn't seem like much, but after you do it, 40 times or something, ends up kind of taking all the snap out of your legs. And what about us on Team Mike's Bikes? There are 5 of us now. Jackson flew in. This was his first rude awakening to racing here in Chicago. I am crit focused, but the rest of the team is very much road race oriented, so we're looking for breakaways, we're looking for any stage result, we're not concerned in the overall omnium, we're looking for preems and individual results, that sort of thing. Our competition, there's a lot. It's a healthy amount of competition in this series. The big teams, the Blazers with the race leader in Clever Martinez, best buddies. There's a pro-German team who came, pro-New Zealand team who came, a pro-Canadian team was here, a million other individual riders. This list is way too long. This is a national level event, after all, with big money on the line. Okay, enough stalling. Let's get into some bike racing footage. But first, a quick message from the sponsor of this video, and that is Skillshare. Look, guys, it's 2022. We have so many resources at our fingertips. Being self-taught in any creative or business-oriented discipline is so easy at Skillshare.com. I use it for a lot of how I've grown this channel. I didn't know anything about video production, marketing, or social media, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm just really enthusiastic about bike racing, but I have used a lot of classes on Skillshare to help develop those skills. One that I've been hooked on lately is called Mastering Productivity by Thomas Frank. This is all about allocating your time efficiently throughout the day. I have a lot going on in my life. I want to continue racing, staying fit. I have to maximize every hour throughout the day. So I suggest you go check it out. And if you act quickly, the first 1,000 people to use the link down in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Try it for a month. If you don't like it, cancel. It's totally free. So with that said, let's get back into some bike racing. We are now about 15 minutes into this race. I am still happily tail gunning, saving all this energy. So you might be wondering, why don't I always do this? Why isn't this a good strategy? Well, it can be a good strategy. One problem is you can't see what's going on up the road, especially in a field like this of 100-plus riders. You don't know what is happening. If there's gaps opening up in front of you, there's breakaways going off the front, all of that, you are completely blind to that. That is the drawback. And it can end up backfiring. So here, for example, on the third day, well, the first 2 days, the group stayed together for a field sprint. So I thought, hey, this is not an extremely technical course. I can probably get away with doing some tail gunning, but I was wrong. Up the road, gaps started to open up, and the field just started to explode into little tiny chase groups. Even though I saw this start to happen and reacted as quickly as possible, as you guys probably know, gaps in the peloton can open instantaneously, and sometimes there's just not much you can do about it if you're out of position. And I was definitely out of position, and this is the risk-reward balance with this strategy. But that wasn't it for me. My race is not over. I was determined to make the lead group, so what I ended up doing was leapfrogging from chase group to chase group, and eventually ended up having to do this really big, 1.5 lap effort solo, which, as you guys probably know, is not my jam. I like sprinting instead, but I ended up making connection with the lead riders, about a group of 35 or so, but I ended up digging myself a pretty deep hole in the process. This group of 35 or so riders that I've bridged across to solo, this is actually, on paper, this is a fantastic situation, because the moment I make contact, teammate Timmy goes off the front solo. He is one of these 400-something watt FTP guys. This is his move. This is a great situation for him. And quite frankly, this is a great situation for us on Team Mike's Bikes, because not only do we have Timmy off the front, we have stacked the lead group with Chris, Ryan, and myself. Now, marking attacks, and no obligation to do any work in this lead group. And honestly, it was looking really good there for a while. Another rider bridged up to Timmy, another strong breakaway rider. And this put a lot of pressure on those other teams to chase them back if they still wanted to win this race, which eventually they did. Eventually, Timmy and the other rider got brought back at around the same time, about 6 laps to go. Chris was starting to bring Ryan and I up towards the front in preparation for a reduced field sprint. And Chris ended up pulling off after he did his job to bring us up towards the front. And then it started to happen, you guys. It started to happen, that feeling in your legs when you're like, uh-oh, something ain't right. It might have been the earlier effort where I bridged up to the lead group. It might have just been me having a bad day. Who knows? But what I ended up doing was getting on the radio.
Ryan, it's you.
And I made sure to tell Ryan that, hey, dude, this is on you. This is your day today. Don't count on me. Shortly after that, cramps just got worse and worse, as I suspected. So I ended up dropping back, and that brings us into about 4 laps to go. We're going to pop over to Ryan's footage. And I just so happen to have Ryan on the channel with me again. Welcome back, Ryan.
Thanks. Good to be back.
So what's going on in your mind right now? You're 3.5 laps to go, pretty far back.
Yeah, I was regretting my position in the day before out at Mundelein and wanted to pick up a few wheels if I could find the Blazers train. They were riding really well, and I knew that would be a hot ticket in this race today.
Ryan's being modest. Look at this effort right here. When it's single file, you guys, you know it's going fast. We're inside of 4 kilometers, the end of a 75-minute crit. This is not easy to do. Ryan just making up, like, whatever that was, 10 positions. And now you're up in the hunt. I can see the major teams. Are you happy here? You want to move up a little bit more? How are you feeling in this position?
There's still a little bit of a washing machine effect, so you got to be careful not to lose too many positions. But this is a good spot. You can see Clever up there in the yellow leaders jersey. You can see Project Echelon on his wheel right now. So yeah, this is a good spot. This is where I want to be.
And like I talked about in Mundelein, not Mundelein, Jeff. I got it right this time. Thank you guys very much for correcting me. One thing to keep in mind is the number of riders in front of you is a bit deceiving at this moment in the race, because at a big-time race like this, you have lead-out trains. You have riders whose job is going to be to keep it fast, and they're going to pull off with 1, maybe 2 laps to go. Right, Ryan?
Yeah, that's right. And finding that right wheel that is the sprinter for those given teams is the key here.
And not being all paranoid when it's like, you know, if you're 15th or something, you're actually probably more like 8th, because there's probably going to be like 6, 7 riders who are not going to be there at the end. And like you said, finding the right wheel to follow to make sure that the rider you're following is not one of those riders who is going to pull off and just pull the chute and be done with like a lap to go, because that's how your race can be over quickly. But it is really, I don't think that the GoPro does justice on how close you are to these other riders and how tight things get here in the final couple of laps. Do you feel like the difference between this and, you know, like one of our local NCNCA races is pretty crazy to me?
Yeah, I mean, the size of a gap that another rider will take in a race like this, a big national Pro 1 crit race like Intelligentsia, I mean, it's insane. Like, they will take the smallest gap, stick their wheel in it, and not give you an inch, even if you've got the better line, even if you've got the momentum. They're fighting for literally every position.
And also, they're all strong. Like, you just did 1,100, 1,200 watts up that little climb, and you weren't making up any ground. You were just holding position. Like, that's the level of racer out here. And don't forget, guys, we're 75 minutes into this thing. It hasn't been slow either. This has been tough. So you're in good company. Eating a little bit of wind right here. Ryan, you're just strong enough you don't care, right?
I'm mainly trying to keep riders from coming around me. You know, that was a spot where a lot of people would pop out to the left and then duck back in. And I'll do a little time in the wind to make sure that someone's not going to pull a bonehead move and, you know, come slamming into the curb right next to me.
So we have Blazers on the front, who did such a good job all week doing what they're doing right now and keeping things really fast. And this is looking good. I mean, it feels like it's going to be single file coming through 1 lap to go. And like we talked about earlier, there's going to be some riders shedding as the Blazers are just going 35 miles an hour like they are right now.
I'm feeling great about this. I'm on the downwind side. As we're catching the last rider off the front, my heart rate is relatively chill. I'm still picking up positions. I'm feeling really good about having a crack at this one. I'm getting ready to unleash a sprint next time around.
Yeah, and you're in perfect position to do so. I mean, here you are behind the race leader in the yellow jersey. That's Clever Martinez, doing 1,000 watts one more time up this hill. And this is the moment in the race where you cannot give a single inch because somebody is going to take it. Your position has to be locked in. especially because Blazers are on the front doing 1.5 million watts. You're pushed out in the wind a little bit here, but it does look like you end up finding some shelter.
Yeah, I'm fighting off the Germans. You can see in my rear view cam yet again. Looks like I won the wheel that time though.
Yeah, they were aggressive, as were most of the other riders and teams in this field at this point. But I mean, we're coming through Bell Lap here in just a moment. You are very close to the front right now. Like, this is a great position, especially with like what, 4 more Blazers riders in front of you, maybe even 5. Like, you know they're going to keep it really fast.
Yeah, I was sure that they had enough guys to go the distance, and they'd be able to keep it nearly single file for the entire last lap. So I was really happy with that.
Clever got a fine for that, throwing that bottle, by the way. Okay, anyway, you're moving up the right side because suddenly what happened?
But then it slows down, and we get this rider come by really fast on the right, so I feel like I have to follow it, jump on that wheel, and then boom.
Oh my God. Race over just like that. But don't go anywhere. There's a great perspective that we found, courtesy of Clever Martinez. Let's jump over to that footage. Okay, helmet cam, courtesy of Clever Martinez, the Miami Blazers sprinter. Coming through 1 lap to go. Their riders are peeling off. They inexplicably slow down. What's going on, Ryan?
Yeah, a rider snuck up the inside going up way faster than the Blazers lead out here, and I had to jump on that wheel. So I pulled to the inside. There's a nice clean line through there, and someone else was thinking the same thing, but not on nearly as clean of a line. And there he goes, both wheels all at once. Didn't even try to save it, and goodbye.
Yeah, not much you could do there, man. I thought you had a really ripping inside line. Somebody took the inside of the inside, and it's just like, that is just not going to happen. That was just a show of desperation to me. And that was the move. I mean, that rider that went up the inside that you were following went on to get second. Only one rider went with him, ended up coming around him for the win. So that, I mean, that very likely could have been you. It was looking like that was going to be you. Unfortunately, you got wamboozled, man. That was a real bummer.
It was a real bummer. I was feeling good for the final. Heart rate was nice and low, and yeah, I thought I had great position to go for it. But sometimes that's racing.
Yep. Well, great having you on, Ryan. Awesome, as always, speaking with you. Thanks for your insight, man.
Till the next one. Thanks, Jeff.
Later, guys.